Hello, hello, and welcome back to the after show. This is the show
What's
where we're
up?
breaking down, giving a live reaction to episode 7 of The Last of Us. As always, I'm your host, Lion, joined by my co host, Mystery. What's good, Mystery?
Nothing much. Great relaxing weekend. Can't complain. How did your weekend go, Lion?
Man,
Was it super busy or what?
it was a very relaxed weekend. I'm not going to complain. A lot of relaxing, some cocktails, of course. You know how we go. It was a good weekend. I can't
Exactly.
complain.
You gotta love it, man.
Gotta love
We're
it,
in
man.
Florida. You can't do a weekend without the cocktails.
Yo, you gotta get those craft cocktails very well made because some really nice bars. So I'm not mad at it. So I actually went to some kind of a speakeasy to this last weekend. So that
Which
was
one?
interesting. It was like a laundromat. Interesting. It's
Oh
pretty cool.
yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's so
Oh,
interesting
it's
stuff. I hope
that
everybody
acting
watching had a great
very
weekend
cool.
as well. And
Yeah.
we top it off with getting a great episode with The Last of Us episode 7. We had a couple of slower episodes. The last three episodes were a little slower than what we expect, and I think that's about to change in the future.
hmm
And funny enough, one thing that we want to discuss before we get into this discussion,
What's that?
let me welcome people to the show here. I know there's some comments going on here before we get really going. Our main man, Room, what's going on,
Rune
Room?
was good.
Bro, me? How,
It's
sir?
like you
I
know
take
him.
offense to that. I
It's
wasn't
like you
partying.
know
I was socializing with people. I'm a man of the people. I have to be
Yes.
with the people. So
Highly social.
you gotta hang out with the people. You gotta give them what they want. Sorry. But it's good to see you live
No
this
moves
week,
over
man. Thank you
here.
so much for showing us so much love every single week and leaving the comments. Uh, so yeah, there was something interesting that happened with the development from last episode. We had Joel going uh through a conflict in his heart. He doesn't want to get attached to Ellie, and he finally realizes that he is. And there was a scene in the show where he's having like a heart attack. He's against the pole. This has become a meme sensation online. Let me see if I have the picture here. I think this is
For your
pretty
room.
funny. I'm
Go
seeing it
ahead.
pop up everywhere on Twitter. And let me see. I think I have it saved here. Here we go. So this is now being shared everywhere. So is this something like you can put something as simple as when you find out when you find out the Lakers are not winning this year. You know what I'm saying? When you find
Well,
out,
you know what? The way they played today was very encouraging, but they're still not going to make the playoffs this year. But next year, a few adjustments and they'll get it. For the record, I'm a Lakers fan. Go ahead, line.
so we can basically say here when we find out the Lakers are not making it to the playoffs. This is mystery essentially at home, like God, like that's what's
No,
happening.
yo, for
But
me, it's more like what is it? Denzel Washington when he played Malcolm X and he slaps the table. It's like, damn. That's more who I am.
oh, that's tough room. Going back to the office, I don't envy you, man. Like I've been working at home for a little while now. I used to hate it. Now I love it. I have a little home office set up, so I definitely enjoy
Same
the
deal
the
here,
commute.
Roon. I work from home, and screw the office. That's just my 2 cents. Go ahead.
Oh, we're about to get into that right now, and yeah, that means was hilarious.
Yeah,
Uh,
they had a good game today. Go ahead.
yeah, when Xbox fans find out that the multiplus run better on the PlayStation, man, they are hurting, hurting for sure. But without further ado, let's get to what we came here for, and that is to discuss episode 7 of The Last of Us. So this week, this is what they gave us. The show opens up giving us overview of the land. I think one of the last things we said in the last video was how is Ellie gonna get Joel over there? What's happening? How she's gonna make that trek? And you said it right, Mister. You called it. You said she's gonna probably tie into the horse and drag into to somewhere safe, and that's what she did. We see the cold winter. We see the white, pure white snow, and we see the trails of blood leading to a building where
Mhm.
Joel's struggling to stay alive. At that
Yeah,
moment, we see that a reverse from episode 1. When Sarah gets shot, that he's trying to kind of hold the wound so she doesn't bleed out. This time is Ellie holding the wound of Joel so he doesn't bleed out. Do you catch that as well, Mystery?
Honestly, I do. Like I saw. I forgot that I had mentioned that she would have to drag him, and I didn't catch what you were talking about the two side by sides of her caring for Joel. So that completely passed me. But there's something that did not get by me. I'll let you go on, and when it comes up, I'll let you know. But I thought that was big. But go ahead.
So that was interesting. At that moment, Ellie and Joel get into an argument because Joel is telling her just go back north and go find Tommy so Tommy can take you to your destination so you can survive. Just let me here to die. Leave me behind. Essentially, the title of the episode is "Left Behind," which this episode, by the way, is based off of a DLC from the game. A DLC, if you're not familiar, is downloadable content. That's when you finish a story. Sometimes developers give you a little extra that you can download so you can experience some new parts of the game. I recently played that DLC, and it's very similar to how it played out on this episode. So we see that he's telling her go find Tommy, and we see that he pushes her. She looks at him and she walks away. She goes somewhere else, and from that moment, it cuts back to a flashback.
I
So
was
we
about to
can
snap my
see,
fingers too. We could have did it in unison. Go ahead, Line.
yeah, she's gonna go okay, group. So we're gonna she's gonna go. We go back to see her in the gym when she used to be part of Fedra, when she was being groomed to be an officer or a member of the Federal Army. What do you think of that whole first scene, Mystery?
Oh my gosh, that first scene was amazing. And here's what I liked about it. I mean, anybody who's of my generation will totally, or before, will totally get this. They brought back the Sony Walkman. You see
Yes,
her running in class with the Sony Walkman like she's the coolest person around. And that's the way it used to be back in my day. It wasn't that particular one because it used to be the yellow one, which was waterproof, which was a big deal. But she had the Sony
if you
Walkman.
have
If
money,
you
you can
look
have
at,
that. I mean, Mystery, you know what I'm saying?
what is that?
If you have the money, you can have
Yeah,
that.
well, that was the expensive one. I think I had like the Sony lower tier, or maybe it was like a Pioneer or something. It cost like $40. I had to save up like 4 weeks to get it or something. I can't remember, but that's besides the point. But the point is that she had the Walkman, and if you look in her room, she had a tape right next to it, and the tape that she had was did you see the group line?
The what?
The group name, the name of that the tape that she had.
Oh no, I didn't see it. I didn't remember it. I didn't catch it.
The name of the tape that she had was Aha. You remember the famous song? You probably don't, but it all ties in. I saw what they did there. I like what the writers did there because they had Aha on the tape, and they didn't play the song. But when she went to the mall, which we'll get to, I won't give it away, but they did play Aha song, which is "Take on Me," the famous 1980s song. Take on, I won't sing it, but Take on Me. They did that. They tied it all in, and that took me back to that point in time. And just know that if there is an apocalypse, your Bluetooths are going to eventually fail you, and you're going to need to get a Sony Walkman. So you're welcome.
By the way, this comment from Room is for you, Mystery. If you want to
Yeah.
read it.
He said, "I can't lie. I almost
No,
fell
no, the
asleep
one before,
watching this
the one
episode."
before,
Huh?
the
Oh,
one
you're
before.
talking about the Lakers. Yeah, the Lakers had. Oh, sorry, I was looking down in the corner. Yeah, the Lakers had an amazing game today. They came back from a 27-point deficit. They were looking like complete trash, or kind of normal for the season, and they couldn't make even layups. And then somehow, I guess they decided to put on their NBA suits and they played the second half. So kudos to them. I look forward to next year. But
For
go
sure.
ahead, Line.
So going back to the episode, Drew says he almost fell asleep watching the episode. Yeah, it was a much lower episode compared. Even in the game, that's not the most exciting part of the game, the
I
DLC.
thought
So
this episode was very entertaining. But go
I mean,
ahead.
if you don't know the stories, it's captivating because what's happening
I
there.
don't know the story, and it still was captivating because it was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off to me.
Yes,
That was the
it's
whole
like
thing about it.
you had that vibe about it. Yep. So
Exactly.
we see a flashback. We have Ellie running in the gym. She's getting bullied. She punches a bully. She gets a black eye, and she's getting
That's
taken to
also
the office.
1990s. We're taking it back. You
Yep.
punch a bully in the eye. You don't call him out. You just beat him up. I'm just saying.
They did the best they could there.
You're
And then when
welcome.
she's at the office with the officer, what
Uh-huh.
they did here was interesting because they showed a different side of the Fedra Because all we know about Fedra is that they're bullies, that they abuse their power, that they can advantage of the city, so no one likes Fedra. This guy, as a Fedra officer, is telling Ellie, "Hey, listen, if you play your cards right, if you stop, acting up, you can have a good life. You have two choices. You can have option one, which is basically we're gonna put you in the worst detail. You're probably gonna end up dead. Or option two, you can follow the rules. You can be an officer. You can, command people like her and have a nice life. So which way you want to go?" Ellie chooses the option number two, of course. So they show us a different side of Fedra because the guy actually cares about the people that are under him, the people he's shaping up for the future. So that was nice to see in regards to a different side of the enemy. Something that
I
the
mean,
show has
even the
done wonderful.
stormtroopers had people that cared for them, right?
Correct. This is something the show has
Just
done very
messing with you, Ryan.
wonderfully. They've been humanizing the bad guys of the show. When we saw Kathleen, we see her evil side, but we see the reasons why she do it because of her brother. We see Fedra, we see the reasons why now. So some of the people that are maybe nice, maybe good, we try to do something good, not in the best way possible. So it's a running theme on this particular show. From that point, um, she gets her Walkman back. That's something that was a call out that you made. We see that Ellie's asleep, and someone sneaks into her room. Happens to be Riley. Riley, played by the wonderful Stone Reed. And if you are a big fan of Euphoria, Mr. E, you recognize her from Euphoria. She's played
That's
one
the
of the
sister,
sisters.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's
That's
a
the
younger
younger
sister
sister.
in Euphoria. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow,
Stone
that's
Reed.
where I knew her from. Wow, you brought it's wow because it's like night and day those two characters.
Yeah, because like she's very innocent in Euphoria. At least from
Hmm.
what I seen on Euphoria, I follow as much as I could.
Absolutely, very passive, very passive.
Here she looks very different. She's
Yeah,
she she,
she's a
she has her swag on. She's a
hmm
warrior. She's joined the Fireflies. So we see what happens here. So she tells this friend of Ellie is her best friend. She was presumed to be dead because she had disappeared, and she tells Ellie, listen, I joined the Fireflies. I want to show you something. Come on, let's go. And from this point on, we start getting hints that there is something more to this relationship of
hmm
just friendship because there's a bit of a awkwardness when they're together in a room. Do you catch that as well, Mr. E?
Yeah, I caught that. Now, and that was a little bit later on down the line. It's for me initially, and it wasn't clear until that specific situation happened. Before that part, it was more of like two kids just having fun on a exploration or a discovery of what used to be known as the mall, right? And I thought those parts, the whole discovery of the mall was very interesting because they were talking about people stole sneakers instead of soap, and look now, both are important, but I think soap is more immediately important. Your sneakers will last you. I don't know how much they walk, but it'll last you a couple months. Where you kind of need soap. But they overlooked those things, and Victoria's Secret was the thing, and they talk about how ridiculous the stuff was, and then you had the Halloween shops, and then I know you're going to talk about some of the other stuff, but it was just, oh, how could we forget? I mean, you have the Walkman and also the escalator as well. That was amazing to Ellie just to see an escalator, which these kids have never seen before. They haven't seen planes, trains, cars, or even escalators. So this a whole thing, which we take for granted on a regular basis, going to the mall, this was new and exciting for her. So for me, initially, it seemed like a discovery, but once they started to really get into it, then I noticed that bond between them was more than just a regular friendship. And I think that her friend had sort of balked at it the first go around. What were your thoughts?
I kind of caught her when she asked her to change, and she's like, "Turn around," and she's like, "You're so weird." But that's the moment that I like, okay, that's where you get
Like,
the hint.
on
I
the
mean, I already
nose.
knew that what was gonna happen there, but that's what I got the hint because she was a little weirded out by that whole thing, and Riley was like kind of smiling, like like flirtatiously. So from there, as they are making their way into the secret place that Riley wants to take Ellie, we see that they stop by a building, and in this building they find a dead body that wasn't there the day before, and they decide to approach. They find a bottle of whiskey that's
Yeah.
being held by that guy. But I had to stop and think like, man, wouldn't you think that may be an infected, right? You don't know
I
if this.
thought that it was going to jump out at them, and that was how she got scratched up. I thought that was going to be Ellie's story, but it wasn't, apparently. It just was one of the stops in a long journey for this particular episode.
Yes, certainly. And Miss Maroon says planes, trains, and automobiles. That's certainly what you were talking about, Mr. E.
Yep. That's what came to mind. Well, what was that? A movie or a book or something like that? I can't remember.
I don't know. Hmm. Excuse me. I have to
Moving on.
so little punch. So from there on, they finally, she already, Riley had already admitted she's part of the Fireflies. They find a dead body, and then they start drinking the whiskey on the roof. Like we see a semblance of things that kids, not say the best things, but some kids do this. They sneak out, they'll drink alcohol behind their parents, behind the authority, and we see that they're trying to somewhat remain grounded to some certain level of normalcy within this crazy world by doing some of the mischievous things that kids sometimes do. Although I would
Uh,
not drink at that bottle when that guy was dead. Why it was poison in there? Why was that? I would
well,
wonder why is that guy dead? Maybe he drank that whiskey.
well, he mixed it with the pills. I think that's why they said it and they made it clear. And with the alcohol, if it's pure alcohol, it cleans stuff, so it bombs away. Uh, can you pull up Rune's last comment where you're saying talking about the
I did. I
film?
did.
Yeah, yeah, there it
The
is.
classic
You're right.
film.
I just had to look it up, Rune, and I did watch that movie when I was a kid. I didn't realize the name of it, but it had John Candy, and he was trying to, and Steve Martin, and Steve Martin was trying to get home, and John Candy was the guy that took him home. Great film. I totally forgot about that. Thanks for the heads up.
So with that said,
Yeah.
they finally. Riley tells Ellie that the story how she became a firefly. She found someone that gave her some compliments on her skills of running away, or I guess jumping into getting into different places. And she lets Ellie know, listen, I hate Fedra. Fedra are the bullies. Well, Ellie has a different mindset now that she's seeing the two options and see how kind that gentleman was to her. And this is it's a running theme with Ellie. Whenever someone shows kindness to her, she seems to attach fairly quickly. This happened with Marlene. This happened with Tess. It happened with Joel now. So at least someone is seeking someone to love or to be
Agree,
familiar.
and I think that Riley had touched on that because she said that that she had a family before, so it seemed like she was a part of something, whereas Ellie hasn't had that, and so she's always yearning for that feeling, which we saw in last episode where she told Joel, "If you die, I have no one else, and you're trying to leave me, I have no one else." So we're going to stick together because she has no one else, and she's always looking for someone. And that someone to start off with in the beginning of her life was Riley. So yeah, I agree. That's a recurring theme because it's one human nature, and it's two something that she's been missing from the beginning.
That's correct. And Ruth says, yeah, on that. One thing that I noticed as well throughout this episode, multiple times, Riley asks, as she keeps pushing for Ellie to do something, for that night, is, "Do you trust me? Do you trust me? Do you trust me?" Multiple times, kind of
Yep.
establishing that the ones Ellie trusts someone, she becomes incredibly attached. She will follow that person to the ends of the earth. She will do whatever needs to be done to make sure that person is around, doesn't leave her behind. Essentially,
Hmm.
part of the running team. So I noticed that every single time that a big decision was going to be made, hey, do you trust me? Do you trust me? You know who I am. Do you trust me? So she's very pushing and convincing
Yeah.
towards Ellie. So they make it to the mall, and it's the first time that Ellie is experiencing the mall, which is, to us is something that's normal. But we have to look at this world that there's no
The
nothing like that
crazy
exists.
world.
And when she lights up the mall, and all the lights come on, all the stores are there. Ellie's eyes just light up, and she's impressed by even something as simple as an escalator. Riley's goal is to show her the fourth wonders of the mall, or what she considers something that's going to be wonderful for Ellie to experience. She never experienced anything of the sort. She's always been under federal supervision. So, Mystery, what are your thoughts here on Ellie's reaction to seeing the mall and what everything that went through here?
She was amazed. She was completely amazed by the mall and everything that it had, which was a one-stop location. I don't want to say shop because there was multiple shops, and it was just a center of entertainment and fun. Interesting fact here: the when the first mall was built, I think in London or something like that, it was protested by farmers and stuff with pitchforks because they thought that it was going to put the local markets out of business or whatever, and blah blah blah. But I just go to say that, like, I say that to say
I
that
think that's
it
true.
wasn't always accepted, huh?
I think that's kind of true. I mean, once a mall
Yeah.
comes, like a big superstore, they kill the malls for sure.
Well,
Yeah, that's-
you just gotta move to the mall, and that's eventually what they did over time. Some of them
yeah.
went out of business or whatever. But you know, you gotta ditch the horse and get in the car. But this was a way of life back in the day, that people took for granted, as you said, as I said, and they don't do this anymore. And so I think she's just completely marveling at the fact that everything was all in one, from entertainment to shopping to essential needs, all in one place, and people could just have fun uh, throughout the day, and she could live as a kid. And in this moment, we've seen her unlike we've ever seen her before, without a care or a worry in the world at all. She's just absolutely having fun as a young teenager, and this was provided by the mall, because in the first scene, she was stressed out running with the Walkman, had to confront a bully, and now she's been put in the hole 2 times and everything like that. She's really enjoying herself, and this is because of her friend Riley and because of the mall, and maybe alcohol too.
The alcohol probably has something to do with it. But funny thing, when they start looking at the stores, they have another funny moment where there's some flirting going on, where Riley shows Ellie a Victoria's Secret store, and they kind of question, what would people wear? It looks so uncomfortable, right? Because they're like, this is so foreign to them. And she said, well, I'm just trying to, I'm laughing because I'm imagining you wearing something like that. That's a little bit more flirting, showing some hint,
And
hint.
my
And
naive self didn't get that either. I was just like, why didn't you say both of them? Like, I don't get it, idiot. But but yeah, no, it all is like after that scene or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Where they almost kiss. Absolutely.
from there, we're taken to another place that Riley considers important, a wonder of this mall, which the four wonders, by the way, were the carousel, the photo booth, the arcade, and the Halloween store. And we're gonna add in as an extra this escalator for Ellie. So we have
Yeah.
four wonders, and that's what they were. So the
Plus one.
next wonder that is shown to Ellie is the carousel, which is what we see in the promotional materials of this particular episode. The poster for the episode is actually in the carousel, where they share a very heartwarming romantic moment as well. And I think this is where Ellie realizes her feelings for Riley in this particular moment. It's in that carousel, the way she looked at her. We have that shot on the screen. This was something magical. I mean, you do something very special. Riley went all out because Riley knew there was something she was hiding, and you could feel it as she's doing all these things. This is something this grandiose gestures that you're doing are for a particular reason. You want to impress someone, maybe convince them to go with you, or leave a very lasting memory that will be hard to forget. And that's what I believe Riley was attempting to do in this particular scene.
This was
Go ahead.
real quick. Uh, Rune, the audio was good for me today, so for me it was good on my side. Uh, uh, yes, the set was huge. The budget was crazy, um, and for Riley, from what you're talking about, Lion, she showed Ellie the best time that you could have in the QZ period. Like, this isn't by any stretch of the imagination. By me saying this, it's not exaggeration at all. This is the most fun that you can have within a day uh, in the QZ, because the QZ is mostly all work. Even as kids or whatever, like, you could play a few
Everybody
games
has
or
a job.
whatever, but
Everybody
you're
has a
not going to
chore.
play. yeah, you're not going to get on a carousel. You're not going to go on the escalator. You're not going to see the lights. You're not going to see the stores. You're not going to see the other things that we'll talk about later. You're not going to see all of that. So this was a huge gesture by Riley, which, lying to your point, yes, she was doing it to set something up. And when one of those moments came, Riley sort of balked at it, right? So QZ's boring as hell. Yeah, it is. Riley sort of balked at it and rejected Ellie, and I think that's when Ellie snapped, and she was like, "Well, what the hell you bring me here for? I'm out." And then there was a little bit of friction at that point. What were your thoughts like?
I mean,
Oh, the photo booth. Yeah, you can't forget about the photo booth. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, the photo booth had no ink in this show compared to the game, and that's a nice detail that they had because they make it more real. You know that photo booth's been sitting there for over 20 years. The ink for getting old is not gonna be as effective
yeah,
as.
I give you to that point, line. I give you one more. The dance moves. When you see them dancing, they didn't have any of like the cool dance moves.
There's no Fortnite moves. Yeah,
there's none of that there. So I was paying attention to see like, okay, did they specifically tell them to dance generic, or are they going to bring something out? But it makes sense. It all makes sense.
So to your point, I was gonna say, sorry, that was my train of thought. We have a scene here with the. I'm losing my train of thought. I forgot what I was
hit the Dougie. We were talking about the carousel, the ink in the photo booth, and yeah, I shouldn't interrupt you. We were talking about the ink in the photo booth and the carousel and the grand gesture and just them in the mall. Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, this was something that this particular scene shows me that there was something that Riley was hiding, that she hadn't told Ellie, and that Ellie find out her feelings for this person here that she was not aware of. She was so familiar with realizing that she may not have this person anymore in her life. This person that will go to this length. Nobody's ever done this for me ever. This person might not be in my life anymore after today. So from there, Ellie, as she's realizing her feelings, she asks, "Why did you leave? Because I assume you were dead." And Riley comes clean with that secret. She lets her know, I was turning 17 pretty soon. I was gonna get a job assignment, and my job assignment was the sewage detail. Which, if we go back to the beginning of the episode when the officer explains some of the dirty jobs you have to do. That's not the nicest job. You have to watch people just scrape the sewer, and most of those people end up dead. So Riley didn't want to be that. This is how they see me. They see me at the bottom of the barrel. I'm gonna have a very crappy life. I don't want to accept this. I'd rather take my chances somewhere else. That's what she did, and she went ahead and took that. I mean, I can't blame her because I probably would consider doing something the same. Because what is guaranteed for you at that point? If you're gonna
you have to consider that, especially in these times, it's a very special thing that you actually have life, and to spend your rest of life being a crap supervisor is a crappy life, as you put it, Lion. So you have to consider your alternatives at that point, which maybe, running with the Fireflies isn't so bad because they won't put me on poop patrol. So, I mean, it makes total sense.
I can see that being a TV show somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, from there, we get to the photo booth moment where they take those pictures, and we see another moment where Riley's pushing the envelope. She's flirting a little more, getting extra close with Ellie. Makes Ellie slightly uncomfortable. Ellie pushes back. So we see more of that. You trust me? The flirting. Like, Riley's like in love with Ellie and doesn't have the courage. She's starting to tell her. She's trying to covertly make sure that she feels the same way.
R.I.P. Bill. Yeah,
being in the Fireflies is boring too. They're all talk. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anything special from the Fireflies, at least as of yet. We have not seen anything that's that impressive from them.
Very true.
What else we have here?
Bill, go ahead.
Bill had the best life. He did. I mean, the man lived a full life with the person that he loved.
The guy was eating steak and lamb. He was doing good.
He went out on his own terms. I'm talking about that. Couple of things. Don't forget, if you enjoy our show, if you're checking out our video, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, help our channel grow. And if you're checking the chat, the live chat, we have a poll going on, and that poll goes as follows. Let me see here. Oh, that's not it. The poll says, um, what would you, what would you choose? Would you take the easy way out, or would you let yourself turn infected if you were bitten in this world? So let us know what you think in that poll by answering that question from the live chat. And thank you for checking us out, of course. So moving along, the next place is gonna be the arcade, where they find an arcade, they find it wonderful. I mean, even nowadays, when I was a kid, you find an arcade. That's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing to run into.
I'll never
Um,
forget as a kid, back in the day, way back in the day, I would get allowance, and I was part of a bowling league, which is still to this day is the highest that I've ever bowled. But that's besides the point. And while I would wait for my mother to come and pick me up, I would play at an arcade. And one time, I spent my entire allowance on the arcade, and so it was $10, big whopping $10 at that point. I was only like I don't know, 5, 6, maybe 7, whatever, a little bit older. But the point is, I said, let me get $10 worth of quarters, and they gave me a roll, and I spent all of it. So my
of
mother
course,
was
every single time.
very enthused about that.
It's a great moment when you're a child. Like when you see an arcade, it was great. I mean, you just gotta think
Yep.
about these kids are not experiencing anything of the sort in this
Hmm.
particular world. When they see that, they treat us to a nice game of Mortal Kombat 2, bringing some memories. They even did a
Oh my
fatality right there. It
gosh,
was pretty
dude.
cool.
Yeah, that's the best way to survive an apocalypse. If you can play Mortal Kombat 2, I mean, for all the generations.
Really.
Yeah, and bowling I did. I
Yeah,
haven't beat that
that's a
score.
good one.
I have not beat that score to this day, and it's sad, but it's a different story.
I only know how to throw the ball one way, which is the curve shot.
I
That's
can't
it.
do the curve. I can't do
That's
the
the only one
curve.
I
I
know.
have.
I'm not a straight one, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll roll with it. It's good. It's a good party trick. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, from there, they have after they play
Shout out to Room.
Mortal
You probably
Kombat,
could
we
beat me.
find out because there's a lot of noise that there's an infected, like an older infected in there in the mall that was attached to a wall, but I guess it's not that attached to the wall because it was able to get out.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have a really nice moment where Riley they have a bit of an argument. Riley tells or no, she gives Riley gives Ellie a joke book. You know how how Ellie enjoys
Hun,
jokes. Like
yes.
one of the jokes was like, how does a computer get drunk? I think it was. It's like because it takes a lot
Yeah,
of
it takes screen.
screenshots. And the funny thing is that they neither of them knew what screenshots were because
It's
they don't really do
amazing
computers
how
that
much
well.
it's amazing how much they're missing, how much that generation has missed because at the reverse is, or the opposite is true for us with the generation that has come after us, where they somewhat call them the iPad kids or the iPad generation
Mhm.
because they're so in tune with touchscreens and doing all this other stuff and blah 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 and computers and IT, and this generation hasn't had that, so it's kind of sort of like for me I don't want to say refreshing, but is like, okay, yeah, it that doesn't go from just one generation to the next generation because this generation didn't have that. They lost the computers, they lost the technology. They actually went back as opposed to going forward. So screenshots, escalators, Mortal Kombat games, Discmen, Bluetooth earpieces, all that stuff are foreign concepts to them. Here we go again. You ready for it, Room?
Get it,
Planes,
get it.
trains, and automobiles. Those all foreign concepts to them. So it's very interesting to see these things pop up time and time again.
So in this scene, we see that Riley takes Ellie to this taco stand where they have a bit of a joke in regards to like, oh,
Macho
we're gonna get
taco.
a taco, Macho Taco, right? It's a very popular place in taco places. Anyway, um, we see that we find out that Riley's been staying there, and Ellie finds that Riley's guarding some bombs that they're making. We presume that they're gonna be attacking the Camp Fedra where Ellie's at, and that's when they have an argument. And Ellie's
Yeah.
like, you're not here for me. you've been here for a few days because you're guarding this stuff, and you guys are gonna attack me." She's like, "I'm not gonna let that happen to you." But you know what power do you have to stop it
Yeah, you
from?
have no power over the army. So she's lost in the sauce, and Ellie recognizes that, and Ellie recognizes the simple fact that we may not be able to be kids anymore because we're on the opposite side of things. We may not be able to be friends as well because we're on the opposite side of things. So I have to choose a side, and I think that's when Ellie starts to break off, and she leaves, but because what we were saying before, what you said before, Lion, is that she's always needed that emotional attachment to somebody. When she heard a voice screaming for what seemed to be help, Ellie turned and ran because she thought that Riley was in trouble. But it was the fact that Riley was showing her the fifth wonder of the mall, which was the Halloween store with all
No,
these different
that
things
didn't
in it.
happen just yet. So
Yeah.
after the discussion, Ellie gets upset. She starts to leave, and as she's leaving, she realizes, "Yo, maybe me come down, me come back." She hears some screams, and she thinks Riley's in trouble. So when she gets there, she finds the Halloween store, and this is when they have a heart to heart moment, where they start dancing. They put the mask on, and at that particular moment, she finds out that she's leaving for Boston. She finds out that like, hey,
Yeah, leaving
don't
for the
go.
north.
She begs, don't go. They end up kissing. This is the
Yeah.
moment that Riley's been waiting
Da-da-da.
for.
And then it all made sense to me. Go ahead.
At that moment, Mystery realized, oh,
Aha!
they were flirting the whole time.
Aha! how's it,
Aha!
how's it
That
going,
was,
movie?
it
Taste the
only
soup.
took
I don't want to
two.
taste the soup. Taste the soup. I don't want to taste the soup. Taste the soup. I don't want to taste the soup. Taste the soup. Okay, I taste the soup. Where's the spoon? Aha!
You got that coming to Jesus
There you
moment
go.
right
Coming
there.
to America.
It only
There
took
you
most of the episode for Mystery to get it, but yeah, that was a Roman story of Ellie, going full force with her feelings, being scared of them, realizing who she is as a person,
go.
and one thing that this show does very well is that they have taught us that every time they do something really good, that something nice is happening, that is followed by tragedy, by the worst. They
Absolutely.
take it
You
away
can't
from
have
you.
a high
They
without the
give you a
bottom falling
lollipop,
out.
they take it away and throw it in the ground, and just bring you back down to reality. This world is not a fun world to be in. It's dark, it's scary, and there are monsters coming to get you. And we see a infected show up, attack the kids. Riley, who's a terrible shot, shoots, empties the magazine on this thing.
I swear this guy, like in his actual life, was a track star because he's moving around pretty fast. Like this guy should have been in the Olympics.
Yeah, it came like this infected. I mean, what this infected came through very quick, like lightning, and then things are very tough and strong. And Riley gets knocked out. Then Ellie stabs the infected. She tries to save Riley. She's fighting it off. Eventually, the Riley tries to save Ellie again. He attacks Riley again, and at that moment, at that precise moment, is when we see that Ellie stabs her in the head, stops, and she's
Pumped up.
brought out with so much excitement. Like, yes, I did this. We can do this. Riley knew something that Ellie hasn't realized, and she sees that two things: one, that Ellie's been bitten, and two, that Riley got bitten as well, and they realize this
Like
is their
stars.
doom.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's your thought on that whole scene here?
You know it was coming. Like they had the scene, Ruin. They had the scene where they showed the zombie in one of the stores, and you knew it was coming. Like if you know, like the simple formula of these shows is that you have to have the big moment, right? You got to have the big surprise, and the way that they sandbag you is that they build you up so that you have this really good feel good moment where it's like, yes, Ellie wanted to kiss Riley, but Riley pulled away, and now finally they kiss and they're showing how much they love each other, and oh, this feels so good. And it's the equivalent of being on a roller coaster or being on one of those rides where they take you up and then the bottom completely falls out. And that's when they brought in the zombie or the clicker. Correct me, whatever it is, but uh, that's when their emotions have to completely change from being super excited and into each other to survival. and you knew it was coming. My thoughts was, where is this guy? When is he coming? And why hasn't he gotten here yet? So we can see what's going to happen, because we already know what's going to happen. Ellie's going to get bitten, and she's going to survive, and we don't know about her friend. What were your thoughts, Lion?
Yeah, no, so yeah, as I said before, this is the moment where you know Ellie didn't know that she was immune because she's never been bitten before,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
neither does the Riley knew that. So we have to realize that at that moment they felt that they were done. That's it. This is
Hmm.
how far we went. We've got the happiest moments of our lives. Everything was taken away, and it's just time to accept their fate and figure out what's next. But instead of getting us right to that, they go ahead and give us a flashback or a flash forward to present time, where we saw Ellie walk out of the room from where Joe was, but
Hmm.
she didn't walk out to go find Tommy. She's finally trying to find something to help Joel, to cure him,
Exactly.
to help him survive. Like they show us a few seconds of that, then they bring us back to that scene in the Left Behind episode where they're deciding what's happening. We see a Ellie that's gone berserk. Ellie's smashing things. Ellie is she's losing it because she's losing she's about to experience loss for the first time. She
Yeah.
was a baby, she was abandoned. She's never really lost anybody she cared about yet, but the person she cared about the
Well,
most,
she lost Riley.
well, she hadn't lost Riley when she were
Oh,
talking
oh, I thought we were talking about the. Yeah, my
when
bad. I
she's in
got
the
lost in
mall.
it.
She hasn't
Yes, this one.
lost Riley then,
Absolutely.
and she's realizing I'm gonna lose Riley. I'm gonna die. Life is not fair. I just got the best moment of my life. Everything's been taken away in the worst possible manner, and this is not fair. And she's losing it. While Riley had earlier mentioned, I lost my parents before. Like, she never lost anyone. You ever seen a dead body? She said, yeah, my parents. So she's already used to that feeling. She lost the most important people in her life before. So she came to an acceptance and a decision like, Ellie, come down, come here. This is what we
Yeah.
need to do. We need to choose something. Option one, we grab this gun and we make it easy, quick, and painless. Option two, we run it out a day or two, however long it takes. And this is how everybody ends anyway, but at least we do it together. We got a little more time to spend with each other. So that's where my question coming for that poll that's on our live chat. So you guys open up the video, click on live chat where you guys can chat with us at the bottom or at the top. All the way at the top, you'll see the poll. So that's where that question comes in. What would you choose in that moment? I can tell you this. I don't know if I had the heart to turn, I'll probably make it quick and painless. That's how I would roll. But you guys let us know in the comments how you guys go about it with that. Um, but yeah, they make we have to assume that we don't get to see the decision that they make because we go flash forward back to Joel and Ellie finds a sewing kit, and with a sewing kit, we have to assume that Ellie's gonna go ahead and sew Joel so he can survive. What this thing, I think the purpose of final scene in the mall is to show us that once Riley shows Ellie that you don't abandon those you love, you don't take the easy way out. Because for Ellie in present time, the easy way out would have been to go north and find Tommy to find a safe place to be at.
Yep.
But for what Riley showed her was, listen, I already went through this. I'm gonna stick it out with you and spend as much time as I can. So Ellie's gonna do everything in her power to have Joel for as long as she can have Joel in her life, and that's by showing him brutal scene. Because I mean, he's already in
She
pain, but
ever
she
got
go
stitches
ahead and show
before.
him no anesthesia. That was
Yeah.
tough.
If you ever got stitches before, it's not fun. It is not fun, and I guarantee you, you won't forget the experience. So, yeah. But to your point, that's exactly right. I mean, she realizes that I didn't give up on Riley. I'm not going to give up on Joel. We're going to ride this out. And that goes from this episode into the next episode, really.
Arun, I
So,
gotta see if I can become Ellie first. Give me a few hours to see if I'm immune. If not, then you can kill me. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, but what we don't because they have no one knew they were immune to this. So Ellie
mhm.
just by chance, and we know because we played the DLC how that she finds out on how she's convinced not to do this. where Ellie learned those medic skills. I guess with Fedra, she was being trained to be a Fedra officer. So
Makes
I got
sense.
some basic skills on how to take care of a wounded were probably taught in the academy. That's where I assume that comes from.
That's a good
Um,
point.
and then from there, the episode ends when she's sewing Joel. We have to assume she successfully does it because in the previews for the next episode, we see that Joel is is he's not in good shape, but he's being sought. And then there's some new people being introduced, including the voice actor for Joel for the game is gonna be in the next episode. And we see this new group of people that are looking, I guess, are looking for Ellie and Joel for whatever reason that may be. That episode looks is gonna be action packed. If it's anything like in the game, it's gonna be one of the best moments. And you guess what? That's episode 8. That means
Yeah.
after that, we have one more episode left, and this wild ride will pretty much be over. Did you get a chance to catch the previous mystery?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did, and that looks like it's going to be a episode where Ellie is going to grow up a lot in this next episode, and she's the reason being because it looks like she's going to have to care for not only herself but also Joel, while
Well, surviving
managing a few factors. Really,
the enemies that are coming her way. I
yeah.
gotta give it to Bella Ramsey. I think did an amazing job in this episode. She did a
Again,
fantastic acting. Stone Reed did amazing as well. I'm gonna give it to you honestly. I didn't think Stone Reed had it in her because what I seen of her in Euphoria, I mean, I guess she plays that character really well.
well, yeah, you're right, Lion. You're absolutely right because out of all the characters, all the amazing characters from the boyfriend to I forget all their names or whatever. They're all amazing, and Zendaya really played, and she should have gotten an award. She played an amazing role in that particular series because it just took so much. You got to watch it. I'm not going to give it away, but I agree with you, Lion. The sister, which is Riley's character, she just was very passive, and out of all of the characters, she's probably the one that you would overlook the most. That would be my thought. She didn't have that same impression, and I think that's because that's a role that she had to play. But she really brought it. You're right, Lion. Absolutely.
No, certainly, and she did an amazing job on it. We didn't get to see much of Pedro Pascal. He had the easiest job of the of the season. We're just laying there.
Still got to check though.
They still got paid. It's gonna
For
be
this episode, Pedro, what we need you to do is just lay down right here, and for that, we're going to give you 500,000. I could do
You
that.
know what's funny? Next week, there's a premiere of if I'm not mistaken, the premiere of The Mandalorian, who Pedro Pascal plays the main character in The Mandalorian. It's a Star Wars series on Disney Plus. So next week he'll have two
This
shows,
is the way.
massively popular shows that he's
Did I do
the
right?
lead
This is the way.
for.
Did I do it right?
I'm sorry.
This is the way. The
Oh,
Mandalorian.
you're Mandalorian, yeah. This
Yeah.
is the way. So you got it. You got it. Yeah, like he's gonna have two massively successful shows that he's gonna be starring out. The man's killing it. I was looking at some of his older stuff. This man's been twice in Law and Order. He done all
Yeah.
these little side roles. I thought he did when he was on Narcos. I thought it was one of my favorite characters when he was in Game of Thrones. Should have a picture with him at that time. Maybe by the end of the season I'll show that picture. I don't know if I get to see a younger lion hanging out with Pedro Pascal. So just so you all know. So respect on my name, you know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
yeah, so we come to the moment where we're gonna rate the episode. We rate the episode from between 1 and 10. 1 is the worst thing you ever seen. 10 is a fantastic episode. And let us know in the comments whether you rate the episode between 1 and 10. We're gonna start with Mr. E. He gives a hard rating. He does a hard bargain. An episode has to be really good to please this man. So, Mr. E, drum roll. What are you rating this episode and why?
This episode, I give it a 9. And the reason why is because we got to see a lot into Ellie's backstory. and there was a lot of emotion that went along with it, a lot of heartache, and it was a great storyline. I thought well executed with a little bit of action in it. So I give it a 9. What were your thoughts, Lion?
So this is gonna come to a surprise to you, but this episode, it's a DLC of the game,
Don't do
so
it,
it's
Lion.
something
Don't do it. Don't do it.
that a lot of people, a lot of
It ain't
people
got to be like
play.
that, Lion. It ain't got to be like that.
So
Go ahead.
I watched it. I was like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was a decent. It was a decent time on TV, like an hour you can get back. But I'm gonna give this episode 7.5. It was
Damn.
all right. It was just all right for me. It wasn't terrible. It was decent enough. I
Oh
wonder
God.
what the mass public is gonna think of it because
Wow, you call me.
us here
Uh,
in this world, we enjoy the show a lot, and sometimes we give lower scores. But when I talk to people that are not familiar with the game, they are in love with what the series is doing. Every episode is a 10, essentially a 9 or a 10.
a
So I'm
10.
interested to see the
10.
response. 10. Anyway, so I'm giving it 7.5 for this
Damn, that's
episode.
tough.
I know Rune didn't like this one too much, so he's hoping that the next episode is better. Based on the previews, the episode had a lot of fire explosions. They had guns. We had Ellie holding a rifle, and if you know that scene that's coming, that should be an action-packed, very tense scene
Blacka.
on
Blacka, blacka,
episode
blacka.
8. Then to leave was
5. Damn.
whoa, a 5 out of
Wow.
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 Yeah, you beat Mister.
That
Rune
is
came.
tough.
Yeah,
Even worse, a worse rating than my 6.5. What episode was that? Episode 3, where I gave it a 6.5?
oh, what was it? Episode 4? No, was it episode 3? It was thinking of.
No, it was 4 because 3 was good. Yeah, I think it was episode 4. Damn, that's tough.
He
Hey,
reminds me of Dave Chappelle as Rick James. Like, I wish I had more hands. I can give you 4 thumbs down. You know what I'm saying? I won't say the whole line as it goes. I get censored here, but that's what he reminds me of. It's being rough on that one. But hey, this is how everybody experiences it differently. What you expect. This wasn't my favorite part of the game either. So it was just an okay part of the story. It was necessary to tell the story of why she would go to that land. Because a lot of people in that type of world will probably take the easy way out. Because this guy's done. I'm not a medic. He's probably gonna die. Why am I gonna be hanging out with a dead corpse? So might as well just get out with get out of the situation. The Sam and Henry episode set the bar too high, dude. The Sam and Henry episode got to me. I knew the story was coming, and it still get every single time when I played the game originally, when I played it back in September, and when I watched the show a couple weeks ago. My favorite episode probably of the season.
it was a
I
good
don't know. I
episode.
think episode 9 and 10. Sorry, episode 8 and 9. If you know what's coming, they are gonna be. If they do justice to what it is, they're the most tense, exciting parts of the game, and it's the most controversial thing that's gonna happen there. So
Da-da-da.
you
I
gotta,
have no idea what's going on.
you
Go
gotta.
ahead.
I don't see how they can mess it up, unless they change things around. But I cannot see how they mess it up. And I'm surprised that episode 9 is only like 45 minutes long, which is kind of weird. I would expect it to be at least an hour and a half long. There's so much to say in that episode. So we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, Troy
Hey,
Baker, the voice actor, is gonna be on the next episode. That's the guy that plays Joel in the game. That's the guy that gives that iconic voice and life to that character. But I think this is close to
hey,
the end of the show. Mystery, final
no,
thought.
no, 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 no. Hey, Rune, real quick, have you watched Liaison on Apple TV? If so, check that out. It's really good. They're only one episode deep. I wish they would just drop the whole thing, but it's really good. And also, have you watched Shrinked? Because I thought it would suck, but it actually is pretty good. So let me know your thoughts on those.
Overall, the show was very good this week. A couple of updates. I am working on an update for Foundation Season 2. I got a couple people that asked me on Twitter about Foundation, what's going on. There was just a new game announced for Foundation, a new video game. So I'm assuming there might be a new season coming through pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. You'll see that video dropping fairly soon. We're working on some other stuff for you guys, a new podcast show. So be on the lookout for that. Mr. is going to be heading the march on that one. Mr. E also, hey, people had a really good reception to your reaction to the Super Bowl halftime show. So we'll probably talk about some topics.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people. There was a lot of controversy on that one. Some people were like, "I'm out of my mind," and other people were like, you kind of were right. But thanks for the feedback on that one. It was good to just to talk about it, but really couldn't pin anybody down on that particular one.
I mean, sorry, you got a question from Room?
Yeah, Liaison.
You say you recommend any other shows or
Yeah, absolutely. Liaison's good on Apple TV. Definitely watch that. Love that.
Foundation? If you like sci-fi stuff, that's the first show we ever review on this channel. That's our first. That was our first
Oh,
episode, and
Shrink was
that show I think was fantastic for acting. Lee Pace sets the bar really high, especially in the last episode. Just
Yeah,
chef's
it was
kiss.
Shrink. Shrink. That's the new series. Liaison and Shrink. Those are the two new series that they're doing right now. I didn't think that Shrink. I thought Shrink was going to be super corny, but it's not. They actually have a different point of view. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shrink or something like that. It's the one with the guy from Leaving Sarah Marshall. I forget his name. It's pretty funny.
I actually want to check that out. I seen the previews for that, so that was pretty good.
Yeah,
We should do an episode just talking about some of the Apple TV stuff. Because Apple TV has
let's
great
do it.
stuff, and people like don't know. Like when I talk to people, you see Foundation, you seen this. Like not too many people know. I'm like, dude, that's one of the best streaming services right now. And every show is
For
quality.
real.
They're following the
Before you
HBO
watch another
formula.
Netflix movie and are sadly disappointed at the end because it abruptly finishes, watch a show on Apple.
No, for sure. But final thoughts on today's episode, Mystery.
Dude, love this episode. I can't wait to the next episode. Can't wait to the season finale 2 weeks from now. They really brought it on the series, and I like how they have kept it authentic and adhered to the video game. And we appreciate everybody's contribution, especially you, Rune. Big shout out to Rune. And hey, we're going to be back next week. But did you have anything that you wanted to say, Lion?
Yeah,
Or did you
so
say
it
it
was
all?
asking what
Uh-huh.
show we're gonna do about after the Last of Us. We're looking into the next show, but we also have another show starting another podcast that's gonna be more general topic. We're gonna, like we
Yeah,
did
that'll
today at
probably
the end of the stream. We always talk about these little things here and there. I think we're gonna grab some of those topics. We're gonna expand more. We're gonna pick a specific day. We're gonna have the that podcast. So we'd love to have you come through and share your questions and thoughts about that. But we're gonna be picking another show as the weeks go by. Probably by the end of the episode, we'll know exactly what show we want to do. We're gonna switch genre, maybe go sci-fi, maybe go a little more grounded in reality. So it just depends on what we like to pick certain shows that we enjoy, that we think you guys are gonna enjoy, what they deserve to be talked about. So we'll see what's happening there. Thank you so much for
yeah.
your support as always. I don't got anything else,
Appreciate
Mr.
it,
E.
bro.
If you wanna do us the favor right before you do that, let me get ready because I'm always late on that.
Yeah.
I'm always late
I'm
on
like,
that.
yo, is there a delay? Is it delayed that long? Like, come on, you know it's
Right, it's
coming.
like
You can
sometimes
jump the
the
gun.
screen freezes on me in this thing. I'm like, I'm
It's like
driving, I'm
it's
producing,
like,
I'm talking.
huh?
I'm on air tanning.
What's
I
my
do it
name?
all here. The console. Take us home.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
thank
hold
you
on,
for
hold on.
joining us. If you
Okay,
haven't hit
good.
the like button, make sure you hit the like button. But as usual, we will have more stuff coming down the pipe. Until then, uh, I'm E. This is Lion, and we are.
Unstructured. See you guys next week.
There you go.